We are joined now as Newsmakers Week 2025 continues here on Bickley Marotta Mornings by the president of basketball operations, general manager of the Phoenix Suns, James Jones, checking in here on the Arizona Sports Line. James, thanks for the time. How are you today?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, James. Big of you. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, when it doesn't matter, we were joking about this last week. It doesn't matter what sport. When you hit the All-Star break, people always ask the question, is this break coming at a good time for the team? And I made the point with all the angst with the fan base about how the first 54 games went, James. The break came at a good time for the fans. What is the mindset of this team going into the final 28 games? And did it change? Has it changed at all from the beginning mindset of this season?
No, it always changes. When you get to the break point, reality sets in. You find out where you actually are in relation to your competition. And if you're out front, if you're the number one seed, sometimes at the break you have a sigh of relief. If you are where we are, which is in the thick of it, fighting, for our playoff lives, you refocus, you adjust, and you come out of the break hopefully recharged and, focused on the goal, which is to win games. You got to stack wins and you got to climb up the standings. So for this team, I think for all that we've been through, the break's been good for us, kind of as a reset. And now we get a chance tonight in Austin to go against the Spurs and start stacking wins.
So on the court, what elements do you think this team needs? What boxes do they need to check to kind of get on that run, to level up a little bit, in your opinion?
It's the careless turnovers. We've had critical turnovers at critical moments. Uncharacteristic, but sometimes characteristic for this team. We've been in games and we've had opportunities to close, and I said that we haven't closed well enough to win games. And so late game execution, finishing possessions, we've had just too many small miscues that if we correct, we're looking at a totally different outlook for the season.
Kevin Durant was talking to the media in Austin, and he kind of echoed something he said during the All-Star break too, James, about how do you turn this around? It starts, in his eyes, through defense and rebounding, two areas that have been inconsistent for this team. And we were discussing it earlier. How much of that is how much of that is personnel related in your mind? And is that something that can be overcome by this current group?
No, I mean, some of it, you're going into games where you're just outside.
Yeah.
They're more athletic, they're bigger. You're not going to change that in game. You just have to be smarter. You have to counter that with effort. But then you just have to counter with execution. Like I say, low man wins, inside position always prevails. And if we start on the defensive end, that typically means that we're playing in transition, and we're a better team in transition just because teams can't load up against us. But yeah, it's execution, basic things that we work on every day. And at some point, it becomes want to. We just got to want it more than our opponent. And we've had too many times this year where we haven't demonstrated that want to.
All right, there was a speculation for a while that when it was reported that maybe Bradley Beal was being shopped, that how he was dealing with those rumors, and most recently, obviously, KD. Look, you wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't answer the phone and if you weren't always looking for ways to better your team, and players do understand that. But is there a feeling now that once the trade deadline is over, this team can kind of rally around what they have inside, that they can put all of that behind them?
Always. I mean, I think too often we forget that these guys are human and these guys are people, and they hear and they consume and they know when the team isn't performing the way we want it to, that we're all interested in getting better. And so my job is always to look at things, but it's also a testament to the talent of this group. Teams, they like our players. They're interested in our players because they are good players, and they try to be opportunistic. And so both ways, we always try to make sure that we aren't being blind to the facts. When a team's not performing, something's got to improve, something's got to change. We'll make a bunch of different tweaks. But at the end of the day, once you get to the All-Star break and guys know where they're finishing their season, it's a lot easier to lock in and focus and rally around that one mission, which is get as many wins as you can and take this season as far as you can.
James Jones, president of basketball operations for the Suns, our guest here during Newsmakers Week. Specifically on the Kevin Durant issue, and Kevin has been pretty open and honest about his feelings and what went down and what didn't go down. Has there been a smoothing over between the front office, yourself, and Kevin Durant and his people? Do you feel that's necessary if it hasn't happened?
No, I mean, I think that's the story everyone wants to talk about. Kevin is unique in the sense that he tells you exactly how he feels, and he understands this game top and bottom. He's competitive like everyone else. And so no smoothing over because he wants to do what we want to do, which is win. And he's been great. I mean, I think it's a testament to his ability to just put the game above everything else. And we're definitely aware that, the narratives will continue to bubble up. And like I said, when you're not winning, it gets noisy. And so the only way we can counter that is to win games and stack wins. And if we do that, I think we'll have the outcome that we set out to achieve at the beginning of the season, which is be extremely competitive and win some games.
Now, Mike Budenholzer came in with a reputation of building really good defensive teams. There have been a lot of people who have been confused by some of the rotations and some of the deployment of your players. Have you guys had any conversations of what those rotations or adjustments to maybe a starting lineup might look like coming out of the break, or do you stay out of that kind of out of that realm and leave that stuff to him?
No, I mean, ultimately, the lineup is coaches. That's his job. I mean, he's one of the best at it. This is a new team for him. It's a new team for us. So I think a lot of times what you see is Bud trying to find combinations of players that fit. But like all things, everything's up for discussion. And rotations are those things where you have 48 minutes to figure it out. Who starts, who comes off the bench. You tweak that, but at the end of the day, you just want to make sure you have the best lineups together when it really matters.
Along those lines, Coach Budenholzer made the determination, I don't know how many games it's been, but to put Bradley Beal on the bench along with Yusuf Nurkic. Nurk is no longer here. Bradley Beal is. Could you see, were the results of that stretch satisfactory enough to stay with that in your mind, or could we see Bradley Beal back in the starting lineup?
I think things evolve. It could be. It's a possibility. I mean, we won't shut anything out. There are no hard definites. I think the move to Brad to the bench actually gave him some balance and kind of evened things out for us so that we had kind of a consistent high level talent on the floor, tried to minimize those gaps. But like I said before, we're always evolving. We're always thinking about how we can make this team the best version of itself. And as we continue to build through the season, if we have to make some changes to lineups, rotations, minutes, we'll do it.
I know this team is very much in the now. You got 28 games left. There still are goals that you illustrated that are on the table for this team to accomplish. But we have to play the what-if game. What if those goals aren't met? What if you're on the outside looking in when April rolls around, James?
We'll cross that when we get there. I mean, I think for us, it really makes no sense for us to get too far ahead of ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like we're in it day to day, and it's about winning this season. I told someone the other day, COVID almost ended the NBA. So if you were thinking the season beyond that, you'd have been wasting your time. We're always thinking about how we continue to build for the future, but this team is focused on the now, and we have to be because this is what's in front of us.
James, appreciate you spending some time with us today and answering some questions that I know our listeners were wondering about. So we thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Anytime.
Thanks, champ.
James Jones, president of basketball operations, general manager for the Phoenix Suns. He joined us on the Arizona Sports Line.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.